Chris.
Hi, morning, Mary.
How are you?
Very good.
Good.
Very good.
I'm Mary Marinville, and today I'm excited to be with Chris Sayre of Petty Ranch, and we are in Saticoy. Isn't it beautiful today?
It's a nice day. It's really great.
It's a great day. And we're right in the middle of his fig orchard, which is exciting because not too many growers grow figs in this area. You are the premier fig grower in the county, which is exciting. Tell us a little bit about your history and Petty Ranch.
Okay, well, my family's been here for about 130 years. I'm the fifth generation.
Wow.
Yeah, fifth generation of my family to manage this ranch. And we've gone through all the stages of Ventura County agriculture, starting in the lima bean and sugar beet era. We've had walnuts, we've had oranges. Lemons are our primary crop here, but we started a few years ago with figs, which is kind of a new thing for the coastal California area, very popular around Fresno. But we're trying them out here a little bit closer to the ocean.
Okay, great. So I love asking this question. I ask every farmer, what do you love about farming and agriculture? I mean, it's obviously in your DNA, being a fifth generation, so that must have something to do with it. But what do you love about it?
Well, I think you're right. I think family tradition's a big part of it. I do enjoy the challenge. A lot of times you never really know what you're going to get. Every year is a little bit different. This year we've had unusual weather. It's causing the fruit to ripen early. It's causing the trees to grow differently. And so we're sort of always on our toes trying to anticipate what's happening next. And so that keeps it from getting boring.
Yeah, so it's never boring. It's part of your family history. And you like a challenge. You said every farmer I talk to says, I like a challenge. So we appreciate you
Absolutely.
going to battle for us to make sure we have beautiful lemons and figs. So tell us about how many fig trees you have, all the different varieties, how many acres you grow on.
So the whole ranch here is about 57 acres. Most of that's with lemons, some avocados. We've got 4 acres here of figs and 9 different varieties.
How many different varieties?
9.
9. So tell us about those varieties and why did you choose those particular varieties?
Well, part of the reason is we wanted to get a large number of varieties because we weren't really sure which ones were going to work well in the coastal environment.
This tree, by the way, looks so healthy.
Yeah, this is a white Genoa fig.
Okay.
It's one of the ones that has a pale green skin and a bright pink flesh when they're ripe.
Okay.
It's one of the later figs, so we won't find any that are ready today, but you can see there are a lot of them forming up.
Okay.
So
this is an
will do
Italian
nicely.
variety?
Yeah, exactly.
So Italian, when I think of Italy, I think of semi-desert and dry, so that's why this one probably does so well here?
Well, all figs are native to sort of the semi-arid Mediterranean climate.
Chris, you said that this was a white Genoa. Can you talk to me about the maintenance of fig trees? And this looks so healthy. Talk to me a little bit about what you have to do to keep the tree so healthy.
Absolutely. Fig trees are relatively low maintenance. They survive well on not a lot of water, not a lot of nutrient. They're native to a semi-arid climate. The biggest time consumer for fig trees for us is in pruning. These trees get pruned very heavily each year because they put out a lot of new growth, which is where all of your fruit comes up.
Oh, I see.
And,
yeah, right here.
So you can see almost all of this back down to here is all new growth from when this tree was pruned over the winter.
Great.
So that takes a lot of time, as does harvesting all of this fruit. Because unlike lemons or avocados, which hold ripe on the tree for a while, figs, when they're ripe, are only good for 2, maybe 3 days tops.
Only 2 to 3 days.
You really have to pick them on a really regular basis.
And then get them to the customer fast.
Exactly.
Yes. I see you walking into Paradise Pantry every once in a while carrying what looks like an egg carton of figs, because they're also, when they're ripe and soft, they're vulnerable.
Yeah, they're a very fragile piece of fruit. And so it's really wonderful to be able to work with folks like the people at Paradise Pantry and some of our other chef and caterer customers who understand working with something that's that delicate.
Right. So this is one variety, and you said you've got 8 others besides white Genoa. Can you name them?
Sure. We have a variety called Osborne Prolific, Black Mission, Brown Turkey. We have the White Genoas here. We've got a variety called Peter's Honey Fig, which is sort of a golden interior fig with a really sort of a syrupy texture. That's why they call it a honey fig. We have Panache, which are the green and white striped ones.
Oh, beautiful.
And another one that's really just coming on for us this year is called Celestial, which is a really sweet but very small fig. And then the one we're most proud of is one that we call Harry. And that comes off of a 90-plus-year-old tree that's been on this ranch for a long, long time. There's nobody left in the family who remembers it not being there. So we really don't know the full story, but we believe it was planted by my great-grandfather, Harry Pardee. And while it's very similar to a Black Mission, it's just a little bit different, both in terms of its flavor and the nature of the fruit. And we think it might either be a very old strain of Black Mission, or it might be a variety just all of its own.
Well, I would love to meet Harry, so when we're done here, can you take us over there?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
great. So you, with the caterers and chefs, like I keep noticing in magazines
Sure.
and social media and cookbooks and so on, that figs are such a delicacy, and people are really enjoying their taste. So which one do the caterers like to use? Is it just all of the varieties that you grow, or is there certain ones that they tend to go to? Or
they've got different characteristics. So Paradise Pantry tends to use a lot of the brown turkey figs, which are the largest fig we have, and they like to do that wrapped in prosciutto.
Oh my gosh.
And then stuffed with some goat cheese.
I could go for that right now.
But then some of the others, the little tiny Celestials work well sliced and either candied or used in like a past appetizer. The White Genoas and I forgot another variety to mention, Desert King, which are the bright pink interior, which have a very fruity flavor. Those tend to be more popular in desserts.
Okay. Well, there's nothing like on a hot summer day, some crisp Sauvignon Blanc, some figs, some prosciutto, some nuts. It's just, I absolutely love having figs in the summertime. It's just such a great food when it's hot out, and it just plain tastes good. So you talked about water when you talked about the maintenance, and every time I see you at a lot of different events and functions in the county. You're very, very active farmer, which we all appreciate, because you're actually just fun to be around, not in addition to being smart and having a lot of knowledge about farming. But you talk about water a lot. Like every time I said, I had to get up early to irrigate. How has your farming been affected by the lack of water?
Well, we're very fortunate that being located here in the Santa Paula Basin, we've actually got one of the better water situations in the state of California. So you never want to take water for granted, but we're not seeing nearly the sort of difficulties that they're having, say, down in the San Diego or Riverside area or up in the Central Valley. Our water supply here is fairly well managed, fairly stable, and so we're actually able to do what we need to do to take care of the trees. But part of that's because we've really planned on this for a long, long time. We have an irrigation system that is based on micro sprinklers. It was really state of the art when we went to it almost 20 years ago. And so we're able to actually raise our trees on much less water than is typical for these varieties. And as the technology progresses, we're actually able to look at maybe doing some things where we might be able to dial it in just a little bit better and continue to improve. Figs, since they're inherently low water users, we think we can get down to a very low number. This area where we're standing here has a clay subsoil that really holds water very, very well. And I think we might be able to get these figs down to less than half an acre foot of water use per year on a per acre basis, which is a very, very low water consumption. And that will really help us manage our water supplies a lot better.
That's good news for you, but we're also, like every farmer that I talk to, we're all praying for a wet winter. I'm sure you are too.
Absolutely.
So if we do get a wet winter, would that affect your trees in any kind of?
Well, if we have a wet enough winter, these figs in particular, we might be able to get very close to dry farming them through the whole year, meaning no supplemental water at all. If it's a good enough winter, we may actually try it with about 100 of these trees, just to see how well it works,
Right.
and whether or not that's something we can do going forward.
Because I know grape farmers don't like those early rains when they're just about to go into harvest, because with grapes it's all about the sugar content, and once it rains and those vines absorb the water, it dilutes the flavor of the grape. So does that, if we got an early rain, say in September or October, would that affect the sweetness of your figs?
Yeah, a lot of figs, like grapes, are a Mediterranean crop, and so they're used to a wet winter and a long, warm, dry summer. That's the environment they evolved in. And so when they get a lot of water close to harvest time, the tree or the vine will suck that up and it'll dilute the sweetness of the fruit. But it also means that they might be prone to any type of rot or mildew, because the fruit's not used to being wet when it's fully ripe. And so as much as we always pray for rain, you really don't want it during that harvest window.
Right.
You want it while the trees are dormant. You want it while they're growing, putting out all this new growth to support the new growth, and then you want no water to them once the fruit starts to mature.
Great. Well, thank you. And normally I always have to ask the farmer if the general public or our community wanted to know more about Petty Ranch and Chris Sayer and learn more about all the varieties of figs. I usually don't know the answer, but this time I do, because Ventura County Farm Day is September 26th, at the last Saturday of September. I'm very proud of this day. There's up to 25 farms on the tour. Chris is one of them. And most farms are not open to the general public. So this is one day where the general public is welcome to all these farms, and you're on the tour. And what are you going to have on Farm Day? What are you going to offer?
So we're going to be giving tours of the orchard. We'll be talking to people about cover crops and soil management that we do here, trying to improve and sustain this soil, because if we're going to keep farming for another 130 years here, we've got to take care of what we've got. And then we'll have figs available for people who want to take a few home.
Great. So people can purchase the figs and take some home.
Yes.
Wonderful.
We will have them available.
Wonderful. And the address for Ventura County Farm Day is venturacountyfarmday.com, so it's really easy. And do you have a website? I know you have a blog.
Yeah, we focus primarily on social media. So Petty Ranch shows up either under Facebook, Instagram, or on Twitter.
Okay.
And then also some of my thoughts on agricultural issues in a broader sense are on our blog at Saticoy Roots.
Wonderful. Saticoy Roots, that's right. I do read your blog.
I'm a little behind. With fig season starting early, the writing kind of tapers off a little
I know,
bit.
I'm a little behind on my newsletter as well. It's okay, Chris. We do as much as we can with the limited amount of time that we have. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate this time. I know you're super busy, so thank you. And let's go over and meet Harry.
Let's go see Harry.
Let's go see Harry. Exactly.
These are black-eyed peas.
Are these black-eyed peas?
No, we won't have many. Actually, it won't be enough to replace the seed we put in the ground.
This is Harry?
This is it. So this tree is at least 90 years old. Nobody in the family remembers this being planted. There's no one left from those days. So it's
And in the world of figs, this is a huge tree.
This is a pretty big tree. There's the they're the ornamental figs, like the big fig in downtown Ventura, but those aren't edible. They're the same family of trees.
There's also one at Camarillo Ranch, I believe.
I think so, yeah. So there are a few of those around. They were popular trees. But this is a somewhere in the order of 90 plus, 90, 95 years old. We believe it was planted by my great grandfather, Harry Pardee, probably sometime in the mid 20s. And we for years actually thought of it as a black mission fig. But as we've gotten deeper into figs and started planting black missions that are coming from the nurseries themselves, we find that it's a little bit different than what you see on this tree. The fruit's a little different, both in terms of its flavor, shape, and color. The shape of the leaves is a little different. And what we think now is that this is either a very, very old strain of the black mission fig.
Oh, interesting.
Or it may be its own strain, its own varietal that had developed from, maybe being hybridized with other fig trees. And it may just have simply, grown here as a volunteer.
Right away, what I notice is that the leaves are smaller on this one than they were, and that the figs are clustered where the other trees, they were separated out on the stalks.
Yeah, no, part of that is that this tree actually grows in a more natural setting. This gets very little water. It's almost dry farmed. And so you don't have that sort of the same explosive growth. You don't have the huge leaves. The fruit that it produces is a little bit smaller.
So this was always meant for family consumption.
Exactly. And for years, we didn't do very much with it. It produced more than we could eat. And about 10 years ago, I happened to mention it one day to Tim Kilcoyne, who still had the sidecar in those days. And Tim said, absolutely, I'd love to try them out, bring me some. And so that first year, we supplied him with 130 pounds of figs just off this one tree. And his customers loved it. And Tim, he did fantastic things with them. And it made us realize, hey, there may be some opportunity here. And so that's when we started thinking about figs as another crop that might be part of our mix. And we started looking at other varieties. But this tree is still one of our favorites, and we've been working at actually growing new fig trees from cuttings of this tree, so that we'll have more of Harry's trees in the future.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And because I can tell as soon as you told me about this tree that there's a lot of sentimental attachment to it. It's like part of your family in a way.
Yeah, it is. I mean, over the years, we used to refer to it as Harry's tree. And then over the years, it just became Harry.
Now it is
just
Harry.
Shortened, and so now it is Harry. So it's the.
And you said I could pick one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is this a good one to pick?
That one looks pretty good.
Okay, so I'm going to try this. It looks absolutely delicious. What should you look for when you're picking a fig?
So with it varies a little bit on the different varieties, but in all of them, they should start to get a little soft and yielding to the touch, not mushy, but they should definitely have a little bit of give. On a lot of the black skin varieties, when they have very, very thin skins, and you'll start to get these little tears in the skin as the fig plumps up and reaches full ripeness, and that's fine. The green skin varieties don't usually do that, but on black skins, you'll see those little, tears in the skin.
So that's a good thing.
And that means it's
ready to eat?
Ready to eat.
Perfect.
And then you'll feel it has a little weight to it.
Right, density.
Yeah, unlike most fruit that stay at a fairly stable weight, figs sort of puff up, but are empty right before they mature, and then they fill with water as they ripen.
Well, this one looks absolutely amazing. I'm going to try it. Wow, it's amazing. Do you want half?
Sure, thanks. So you probably see, compared to the other one we tried out in the orchard, which was a black mission, this is a little bit more of sort of an amber color than a red color on the interior.
Yes.
And it's, to my palate anyway, it's a little bit more complicated of a flavor. People a lot of times say they pick up a little bit of cinnamon or almost pepper in it.
It's very subtle,
as opposed to just being sort of sweet, which the other one has.
So you're actually a fig connoisseur now. if you're picking up essence of cinnamon, and that's very interesting.
Well, I mean, we're trying to learn what makes the different ones different, and
Right.
and we get the chance to talk with the chefs and caterers we work with. I mentioned the folks at Paradise Pantry, of course, Tim, Rachel Main. The folks at Seasons Catering.
Wonderful.
We've got a lot of folks that we've worked with, and it's always great to get their feedback as well, because they're the people who really know food. And so hearing what they have to say about the different varietals really helps inform us as farmers.
Nice. And when you're tasting a hairy fig,
Right.
or one of Harry's figs, you're actually tasting the soil, you're tasting the amount of water that it got,
Exactly,
you're tasting the earth
exactly.
and the ecosystem of Petty Ranch, not to mention the sentimental
The
value
history.
the history of Petty
Absolutely.
Ranch. Well, thank you again, Chris.
Oh,
This
thank
was
you.
really wonderful and lovely, and I know I'll see you again soon.
Very soon.
Okay.
Thanks.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.